might be having dinner with Prince Charming, the seven dwarfs, and all of her animal friends. But this podcast is not about what's going on in the castle. We're going to find out what's going on beneath the castle. My name is Michael.
My name is Rob.
And I'm Damien.
And this podcast is all about Disney. Each week, we will be getting down and dirty in the dungeons beneath the castle and dissecting one of Disney's classic movies. Each week, we'll be looking at a different decade and choose a random movie from that decade. If we're lucky, we'll get The Lion King. If we're unlucky, we could get Cat from Outer Space.
You say unlucky.
It's a Disney lucky dip. But before we get into this episode, because this is our first episode, we should let everyone know why we're doing a Disney podcast and what Disney means to each of us. So, Rob, what does Disney mean to you?
Well, cue the tissue boxes, everyone, because my story is a bit sappy.
Okay.
I was never that popular in high school, and I was more of an introvert, but watching the Disney movies, no matter how upset or how lonely I felt, it always made me feel happy watching Disney movies non-stop. That's my story with Disney.
Cool. And Damien, what about you?
Mine's actually similar to Rob's. More in the vein of that Disney movies, while having emotional moments, always end up for the better. So it's sort of that emotional roller coaster that comes with a Disney movie where it may start off sad, but in the end, things always work out and you feel good and you feel happy. And I just enjoy that ride.
Yeah. But you guys went to school together. Why weren't you watching Disney movies together?
We're watching Shrek. It's because we're watching Shrek.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, we're watching. Hey. This is a Disney podcast. We do not talk about DreamWorks.
Listen, they are an imitation, which is the biggest form of flattery.
Okay. Now, on to you, Michael. Why did you like Disney?
Yeah, I mean, Disney, looking back at these lists of all the decades, it's everyone grows up with Disney. From the 40s to now, every child grows up with Disney. And I grew up with Disney. I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and I got that sort of when Disney was amazing, that run of movies in the 90s. And, Disney's just, it's amazing. And, you always have fun memories when you think of watching, Aladdin for the first time or The Lion King. And it just takes you back to your childhood and just makes you happy thinking about Disney. So I think everyone has that.
Oh, yes. 100%. I'm pretty sure everyone has that same feeling about Disney, that it's the most important thing. I
think everyone has that era of movies that are always going to be their era, like a collection of a certain amount of movies that's just their childhood.
Yeah, and we did really have the best.
Oh yeah, hands down.
Period, really.
Oh yeah.
I think we got the period where Disney was still exploring the options there. They weren't playing it as safe as they are now with a lot of stuff. And there wasn't a billion other animated movies and companies out there. Disney were kind of at the forefront of animated movies for our era.
Yeah, well, all thanks to Michael Eisner, who was the CEO at the time when we got the Renaissance era of the Disney movies. That is what actually brought Disney back. Disney was on the brink of financial ruin until Michael Eisner took over, and then they started making, and then I believe it was The Little Mermaid was the first one in the Renaissance era.
Yeah, well, that was 1989.
Yeah, that was 1989, and then bang, it just and then those movies between 1989 and I think it was 1998 was the Renaissance era. All those movies were amazing. Not saying that the movies now are bad and the movies before that were bad, but they were the ones that people have the most fond memories with of our generation.
Exactly.
That's just me. Yeah.
Anyway, enough of that. Let's get into this episode. Because this is our first episode, it only makes sense to go back to where it all started. Tonight's episode is, of course, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Damien, what is the plot synopsis?
Snow White tells the story of a beautiful princess whose life is ruined by a vain queen, who is also Snow White's stepmother, who desires to be the fairest of them all. After the queen's jealousy leads to an attempt on Snow White's life, she is led to the safety of 7 dwarfs, with a little help from some friendly woodland critters. Enraged that Snow White lives, the evil queen, under the guise of an old hag, offers Snow White a magic apple. Tricked into eating what was actually a poisoned apple, Snow White falls into a deep sleep that can only be broken by true love's kiss.
That's right, Damien. Never take an apple from an old hag.
No.
That's what I learned from this.
Also remember, true love's kiss solves everything.
It really does.
Well, Rob, what is your history of this movie, Snow White?
Okay, funny story. I've known all about Snow White for a long time. I've known the whole story, but I actually only watched it for the first time when I first found out about this podcast. That was the first time I watched it.
You mean a couple of days ago?
A couple of days ago was the first time I watched it. I know everything about. Please, I know.
Can you believe this? This is #1 Disney fan that I've ever known, and he hasn't watched Snow White.
The man we picked to do the history of hasn't seen Snow White.
Unbelievable.
Well, I mean, isn't this what this podcast is here for? To learn and explore the wonders of Disney?
Yeah. Hey,
I mean, it is to look at movies we haven't watched. But Snow White is one you should have watched at some point.
Yes, you should have watched it.
I know. I'm a bit ashamed. I'm ashamed.
Like saying you're a Harry Potter fan who hasn't read the books.
Hey,
Michael?
I've read 2. We're not talking about Harry Potter. I almost finished the second book. Hey, but I will one day be a true Harry Potter fan. You have to call me that.
Okay, fine.
Anyway,
Hey,
you don't really have a history with it, but
not really. But I have a history with the rides and all that.
Yeah. What about you, Damien? Do you remember when you first watched it?
I can't tell you when I first watched it. I can tell you that I've watched it multiple times throughout my childhood and the other iterations of the story that have appeared to other publications and sources. But it's kind of just always in that. Like, it's always that movie that just floats around, whether it's on TV or just picked up as a video as a child. It was kind of just in that collection.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm probably the same. I can't really remember the first time I watched it. It would have been when I was a kid, and I haven't watched it for years. Yeah, it was never one that I really went to a lot. I kind of went to more of the 80s Disney and 90s Disney. So that's when I kind of grew up. So I was kind of watching it now. It's kind of almost like watching it for the first time because I didn't remember most of it. Yeah. But, Snow White is just an icon, obviously. And it's definitely, a great movie. But, let's find out.
Movies that made Disney.
Yeah. And, let's find out the history, Rob. What?
Yeah. Okay, so the history about this, I know that it's ironic for someone who had only watched the movie about a couple of days ago to read out the history. It's a bit ironic, but I'm still going to do it. So it was published by the German storytellers known as the Brothers Grimm in 1812. Okay, and also this movie, it was to be the first cell animation release in history, and because of this reason, Walt Disney he had to actually fight for this to happen, and also because no one was helping him with financing the film, he took out a mortgage. He took out a mortgage on his house to finance the film because no one else will give him the money for it. And also, the main reason why Walt wanted to do this is because of the huge success of the Silly Symphonies and all the Mickey Mouse shorts. He wanted to make a full-length animated feature, which he did with Snow White. So congratulations to him for making something all the way back then that still lives up to this day. Okay, so now during the actual production of the film, so the first note of this film, it was actually called Snow White's Suggestions, and it was completed on August 9th in 1934. That was when they had the first layout of what Snow White was supposed to be about, what they wanted for it. But a fun fact about the drawing and everything, just so you know how much effort they put into making this film, it was made up of 1.5 million individual drawings, which were hand sketched, and then they were transferred to transparent cells, then colored, then composited into 350,000 frames. That's how much effort they put in. Everything was hand drawn, and at the very beginning, when Walt was talking about making the film, the main attraction of the story to him was the Seven Dwarfs and their funniness and all the gags that they get into and what they all get up to. But also in the original Snow White tale, the dwarves, they actually never had names. So Walt wanted to give them names based on their personality, based on what their personality was, which I think is a good thing, which I think is smart. Even though I always get mixed up, I can name six. I can name six of them. I always forget one every time, and it's a different one I forget. It's not the same one I forget. Like, I'm going to try naming them right now. There's Sleepy, Sneezy, Doc, Grumpy, Bashful, Dopey, and I forget the last one.
Happy?
Happy. See, I always forget one. Yeah.
But why is Doc called Doc though? Is
don't
he the doctor of the dwarf?
I think it might be because he's just like the calm.
It's interesting because they do say that he's meant to be pompous, self-important, and bumbling. So they named him Doc.
He should have called bumbling fool, because that's all he does in this movie. He can't get a sentence together.
Yeah.
Nervous Nelly, he should have been called.
That's very true.
The cat, mouse, Robert.
Fun fact about Dopey, who is my favorite. Who is my favorite of the dwarves? Is it your two? Who's your favorite of the seven dwarfs?
Dopey.
I mean, when I was growing up, it was probably Dopey, but I actually really like Grumpy.
You would say
I
that.
like Grumpy because he has the most.
I can see myself in him.
But fun fact, Damien, about Dopey, about our favorite one. Dopey was who is actually the most popular of the seven dwarfs. He was actually the last one to be created. He was the last one for them to be created, and then but at some point during production of Snow White, not sure when it happened, the film's focus, it actually shifted from the seven dwarfs to a relationship between the Queen and Snow White. And speaking of the Queen, they had actually struggled to add the color to the Queen's face. They found a red dye that worked perfectly, and which was added by a small piece of cotton wrapped around a tipple pencil on each individual cell. Because this method was so time consuming, Walt refused to ever use this ever again. Never again on that same scale that they did with the Queen. Then, as soon as the movie was complete, it had its premiere on December 21st, 1937, at the Cathay Circle Theatre in Los Angeles. And fun fact about Sydney, so this is actually in the paper in Sydney when it premiered. It experienced no difficulty in sitting atop the charts for 11 weeks, and it was still sitting upon there weeks after that. And because this film was such a huge success for Walt, he was able to turn Disney into the huge company that it is today, all because of that one film that he made. That just goes to show that even after being released 84 years ago it was released, it still has an effect on every single person. Everyone still dresses up as Snow White in the year 2021, which shows how much of an effect it has on men, women, children, everyone, how much it has an effect on them. Anyone dresses up as Snow White. And fun fact, so at the Tokyo and Paris parks, as well as the park in Anaheim, there is Snow White Scary Adventures, which proves to be one of the most popular and one of the ones with one of the longest waits. But at the Magic Kingdom in Walt Disney World in Orlando, there is Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, which is actually one of my favorite rides to go on. I can't explain how enjoyable that ride is. And that's the history of Snow White that I have come up with. Did you guys learn anything interesting?
I learned a lot.
I didn't know about the red, to be honest. That actually amazed me.
Yeah.
Um,
Cool.
Like, that's insane.
You know what? Shall we get into this movie?
Let's
Yes.
talk about it. Let's
Alright.
deep dive into the movie.
Once upon a time, there was a movie called Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And this opens up like a story in a book. I like this opening.
I want to say, considering that was shot, what, 80 years ago?
84. Well,
How does it still look good by today's standard? It's clear, it's crisp, like,
It's amazing.
it looks like it was shot recently.
It's so beautiful looking, this movie. That's like every scene is just is fantastic. We go from the book and then we go straight to the Queen and the mirror. And I loved every scene with the Queen. Like that castle looked amazing. Yeah. How do you rate the Queen as a bad guy? The evil Queen.
I reckon for a stepmother, she's very, very evil. Just because a mirror says that Snow White's Frozen, she goes like, "That's it. I'm done with her. I want her dead."
She also kind of started the classic trope of like the evil stepmother. Like, she's the OG evil stepmother.
She is. She is.
And it's something that Disney have continued to use many times throughout its lifetime. So the fact that it worked then and it still works now should be a commitment to that queen.
All right, then we go to the star of the show, Snow White, and she's singing into a well, and
Into a well.
the well song. I'm wishing. I think the song's called. I was expecting the girl from The Ring to come out of that well.
Where's tomorrow when you need her?
The prince crawls out of the well.
How cool that'd have been.
That would have been awesome. Michael, write that movie.
Okay.
Fan version. That's the end of the movie. Roll credits. The Ring comes out. Credits roll.
Good matchup.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we get that, and then we get Prince Charming has come for a visit, and you know what I noticed about Prince Charming? He's a pretty looking guy.
He's very charming.
I've seen his face. He has the lady's face. That's what I'm saying.
So you are saying that he has a very charming face.
He has got a charming face. That's why they called him Prince Charming. And he was her.
I do want to ask quickly: do they actually ever give him that as the official name, or is that just the name that's given because that's what Snow White says?
He does have an official name. Damien, look
I
it up.
don't know what his actual name is.
It's time for the Damien Look It Up series.
Because I did look it up and I've forgotten what it was. Damien, look it up. And then Snow White kisses a bird. And then do you remember that? And then the bird kisses the prince. I found this very disturbing. You should never kiss birds.
Yeah, because you might get the bird flu.
Yeah, they probably died a week after that movie, I reckon, from bird flu.
Most probably.
Yeah. Find it never seen again. Also, his name is Prince Ferdinand, also known as Foreign. Ferdinand. Prince Ferdinand.
I'm calling him Prince Charming. I like Charming.
Prince Charming sounds better.
Stick to Charming, yeah. But anyway, let's go back to the Queen, because she's going to get the huntsman to now murder Snow White.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's pretty.
Horrible?
No, I mean Snow
The Queen.
I'm like, one's talking about Snow White, And you're referring to Snow White, or are you referring to the Queen being pretty horrible?
Michael literally just said, let's go to the Queen.
Yeah.
She's pretty horrible.
Wow.
Anyway,
I
yeah.
mean,
So the
unless you're instantly condoning your stepdaughter to death because you're a vain person.
I like that little box, the box for her heart. It's a cool looking box.
No, it did look nice.
We had this picked up overnight.
So yeah, he went off to. So he's been told to go murder Snow White and get her heart to bring her back to the evil queen. And hey,
I don't know how often it happens, but most of the time when bad guys are like, hey, I want something done, they really don't usually like say, and I want proof it was done right. The Queen's like, I want you to kill her, and I want you to prove that you've done it. I'm not just going to take your word for it. I'm not going to be one of those dumb bad guys. I want proof.
yeah, she's smart.
She's a smart evil queen.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all she has to do is really ask the mirror, because the mirror will tell her anyway, right?
Also, considering what happens next, I mean, I guess it didn't work.
Yeah, it didn't work. But I like the next scene right after this, where Snow White's in the forest, and you see in the background the huntsman is like standing there, and it's just like a still effect. But it looks kind of creepy.
It's so like foreboding.
Yeah. So but then he doesn't do it.
This is actually one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
Why is that?
Because it's one of the few scenes where you actually see the turmoil. You see him weighing down a choice. Like, he knows that if he disobeys the Queen, he's probably getting his head cut off or something. So he's going there at a fear of his own life to do something that he then realizes is truly horrible and he can't do it. It's one of those sort of human moments.
Yeah, I mean, we never see the huntsman again, do we?
Well, no, we never hear or speak to him. I'm actually surprised he wasn't in the dungeon later on in the movie.
No, that was the bones in the dungeon that the Queen kicks.
Oh, he was the skeleton?
I know it's not based on, I think, something that was supposed to have happened, but we'll talk about that later.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. Well, he tells her to run, and the Queen wants to kill her, and then she's running through this forest, and I really love all the animation they did for this.
Oh my god, yes. I was hoping you would say that. Like, that whole scene, that's my favorite scene in the whole movie. Like, when she's running through the forest and she's just stopping, turning everywhere around it. I love that scene so much.
Yeah. Yeah, and you all the branches turn into like arms, like grabbing her, and yeah, just really good.
Went from 0 to 100 super fast.
Oh yeah.
Just freaking out.
I would
like as a kid too. That was not the happiest part of that movie. That was freaky as a kid.
Yeah, it was good. It's always good when Disney like just crank up that scary level.
Yeah, like they're like, we're gonna do it creepy and we're gonna do it good creepy.
Yeah.
We're not doing half measures here.
Well, I believe, Rob, you probably know, but Disney made this movie not just for kids. He made it for everyone.
Oh yeah, he did. He said he did. He made it for everyone. He never made it only for children.
Yeah. But you know what? She snaps out of that pretty quickly because she's really scared. But then all the animals come to her, and then she starts singing with the animals again.
It was a very quick turnaround.
Yeah.
The very animal she thought was going to eat her like a second ago.
But then she sees her animal friends, and then she starts dancing with the animals and singing, doing everything with the animals.
Well, after this, she finally gets to the dwarf's house, their little home, and this is where she becomes a house invader and lets herself in.
Break it enter. 14, that's Jimmy for her.
Yeah, lock her up.
Were there police back then?
Hey?
Were there police back then?
It was enforcement of laws to a degree.
I mean, this is a fairy tale. I don't know what the police system is there.
It's either lives happily ever after or off with their head. It's one of those two.
It's probably off of me, I'd say.
Yeah.
But she not only lets herself in, then she starts cleaning and rearranging the place. And what I learnt is that dwarfs are gross and messy.
They are so gross. I don't think they never wash any of their plates at
No.
all.
No.
Never. So
They
does
should-
that mean that they just went
Actually-
and bought some new ones?
They just reuse the dirty ones, I think.
Yeah, well, there's a scene later on where one of them is like, when the mugs have been cleaned, he's like, my mug's clean. And he wipes and he's like, the sugar's gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, they just let the crap put up.
But she's doing that, and they're in the mines doing their job, looking for rubies and such. But I want to ask you guys, who are they digging all these rubies for? Do we know?
Well, I mean, if you look outside of Disney, dwarves are known for sort of being treasure hoarders. They kind of like to collect treasure and shiny things. And while they never mention it, that is the current history of dwarves in fantasy and stuff at the time. So I feel like it's just for them. I feel like under that house, there is a secret, like, dragon cave full of just treasure. Probably more treasure than the queen has.
They're sitting on a fortune.
Yeah. And they can't afford a house cleaner.
I think they can. They just they're a bit stingy.
Hey, how do rich people stay rich?
And
They
it's
don't
true.
spend money.
True. Yeah. So, and then they obviously the song, the famous "Hi Ho" and well, you know,
Hey ho, hi ho.
Oh,
It's
hi
off
ho.
for work
It's
we go.
off we go.
I have a question about that. They're singing "It's off to work we go" as they go home. What's going on?
No, they're not.
What do you
They
mean?
change it to it's off to home we go.
No, you're hearing it wrong.
Was that?
If you had subtitles on, like I have subtitles on when I watch my movies,
I
when
have my ears who fail me most of the time.
when they first start singing, it's
Yeah.
hi ho, it's home from work we go, and then when they're leaving the next day, they go hi ho, it's off to work we go.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for clearing that up. I was like, this doesn't make any sense. How has no one ever picked up on this?
Well, then maybe, Michael, you should start watching movies with subtitles. Do you agree, Damien?
I do agree.
There we go.
Damien's not listening anymore.
I know. I'm just saying, in the actual lyrics listed for the song on YouTube, they never actually say it's off to work we go in those lyrics. But I swear it's said in the actual song.
Oh no, it is. On the next day when they're going to work, they say it's off to work we go. Okay. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, so they're going home. And what do they find when they get back to their house?
A home invader.
I'm Invader.
Oh, home invader's sleeping in their bed.
Someone stole their house.
What are they called? What are they called when people? Oh my god, what are they called?
What?
Damien knows what I'm talking about. Like people who go into other people's houses even though they don't own it, and then who live there.
Oh, squatters.
Squatters.
Yeah,
That's
squatters.
They find a squatter called Snow White.
Yeah. So anyway, a lot of shenanigans are happening then. Once the dwarfs come into the movie, there's a lot of fun stuff that is happening. A lot of visual comedy and slapstick, and it's all great stuff. Everything with them is
Walt
great.
actually said Walt actually wanted to focus on the dwarves in this. It's part of the reason why he wanted to give them names, because he felt like they would add that humoristic element that's known from Mickey Mouse and stuff like that. So there was a big focus on the dwarves in this.
Yeah, like I said in my history lesson, like they were originally the main focus, but then they decided to make the main focus the Queen and Snow White, but still have them in it, but not as much focus on them.
Yeah. But once they're in it, it really is kind of focused on them, which
Yeah.
which is great. And I love
Whole
when
washing scene,
what's that?
the whole having a bath scene of all the dwarfs. When all the dwarfs are having their bath, that's the best.
Have they ever
Yeah,
washed
that's right.
before? Because they act like they've never seen water before.
Yeah, they haven't watched before, Damien.
Highly doubt it.
Like, how have they not at least seen what water is? Like, they don't even know what water is.
Nope.
Like, does it not rain? Is it not puddles outside? Are they not, like, seen a lake or something? Like, they avoid water at all costs.
Yeah, they're like the witch from the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I just don't like it.
Yeah, so anyway, so we got all this stuff happening, and then we go back to the castle.
Yeah.
And this is where the queen finds out that Snow White's still alive, and she's going to transform and poison Snow White. And this is amazing. Once we get into this transformation, this is great.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I can just you just imagine the people sitting there drawing every cell of this and how great this turned out.
Mm.
And the apple, and then the apple with the skull on it as it drips down. It was great. It's hard to believe this was made 84 years ago.
Yeah. Like it was.
It's,
Like I'm actually speechless, and this is me.
it's even harder to believe that it was all hand drawn too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's the amazing thing. Like, all of that had to be done cell by cell by cell.
Mm.
There's a reason why it's a dying art form nowadays.
Well, it's just easier to do everything on the computer now.
Yeah,
So more efficient, but you don't get that. You don't get that same quality that you get from a hand-drawn animation, which is kind of sad. But that's just
there's
how.
also that commitment to having to like perfect multiple frames
Yeah.
multiple times. On a computer, you just copy and paste the same cell over and over again and change what you need to change.
Oh yeah. Like if any of the people who worked on Snow White are still alive to this day, they should be proud of what they made. They really should be proud. Like even their children should be proud of what their great grandfather, what their grandfather, what their great 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 grandfather did. That was just, or grandmother. That was just amazing work done by everyone who worked on that film. Amazing work. Like I wish I could go back in time and give them all a handshake and tell them that what they did is still having an effect 84 years later. Just so they know that they are very important in the world of animation and in the world of Disney. They are the most important people.
Yeah, yeah. So so that happens, and then we go back to the Snow White and the dwarfs, and more singing. Someday my prince will come. That was a song. How do you guys find the how do you guys find the songs in this?
I think you brought this up because, as bad as it sounds, I think they're a little dated. They may have been the style back then, but with the music that we grew up with and our generational music, it's not good.
Yeah, I'd say that's the only thing that's dating this movie is probably some of these songs. Not that they're bad songs, and I mean a lot of them we know because
they some won awards, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean they would have been amazing 80 years ago.
Oh yeah, definitely that would have been amazing. Yeah,
that's
like
why 80, like that period's music, or the 40s music period,
30s. Yeah. Yeah, like I completely agree. That is what is aging the movie. The music. It's not the animation, nothing like that. The music is aging it. Except for Hi Ho. I think Hi Ho could still work today.
Yeah, that's still the best song in that whole.
Yeah.
It's almost.
Anyone actually listen to?
I don't really mind the music because it is a fairy tale. It's like a fairy tale land, so it kind of fits with the theme, I guess, and olden times. I don't know, but yeah, they're not as good as later Disney music, but not bad. They're not bad songs, sorry.
Again, that is very much our own opinion as well.
Yeah.
Based off the music that we grew up with and the Disney that we grew up with.
So it's the next day, and the seven dwarfs are going off to work again, and Doc says, "Beware of strangers" to Snow White. He flat out says, "You be careful of strangers."
But don't you
Even to
think,
the Queen is a sly one.
Yes. What's up, Rob?
don't you think that's a bit hypocritical? So he tells Snow White to be careful of strangers.
But
what
just
did they do to
7 of them?
But she was a stranger to them.
Yeah, less than 24 hours ago, Damien. They didn't know her.
Yeah.
They didn't
They
know.
were ready to kill her.
Yeah, so
They went into that house with the intent of murdering her.
yeah. But I think
And they found out she was a girl.
I think they know
They
that.
all,
Huh?
they all fell in love with her.
They did. Even Grumpy, because
Even
he
Grumpy.
even wants a kiss on the head.
I don't know. Of all people,
I love that. I love that little scene
That's it. That's
so
it.
much.
And how Dopey keeps going into the window to get another kiss. It's just, I mean, that whole sequence.
Yeah, it does that like 3 times.
Yeah.
he goes, okay, but last one, and then he does it again.
I love how Dopey always goes for the lips. He's always like wants
Yeah.
it out. So they go off to work, and she's at home, and that's when the Queen turns up as the old lady. Yeah, what do you think about this sort of sequence?
I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
If an old woman with warts and boils came up to you and said, I have a magic apple that grants you a wish. All you have to do is bite into it. Would you bite that apple? This is literally like today's version of Stranger Danger, by the way. This is like candy in a bag kind of thing. Like,
does she look like that? Oh,
yes.
No.
What I would say is, I've watched Snow White. I know what's going to happen, and I
Even
would throw
with
that.
watching Snow White, I feel like it's probably like cat food or something. Like, I don't know. No, thank you. I'm just gonna go inside behind a security fence.
He's too trustworthy.
Yeah, it's too naive.
Too naive.
She's 14.
That's true.
And you just had someone try to murder her.
You know what? When I was 14, Damien, I would have eaten some stranger's apple.
When you're 14? No.
Please, for God, take me away from here.
What about
kidnap me and take me away from here?
Do you want me to say it, Michael?
I don't know.
Is he gonna have to cut this out?
I mean, maybe we should move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
So anyway, and then I like this sequence where the animals go to get all the seven dwarfs, and they're trying to get them back, and it's really tense actually. This whole sequence, trying to get them back to her before she bites the apple, and and then it starts raining, and then she eats it.
I think one of the things that adds to the suspensefulness of this is that they don't have foley music. They don't have like sounds of trees and stuff like that in the background. It's just the music in the background that is playing in time with the actual events that are happening. And they use the music as their kind of foley in a way. And so it just adds atmosphere to the whole thing.
Yeah, that was great. And I found it interesting that when Snow White goes to eat the apple, they kind of cut away to it and they show the queen watching her laughing, and then you see the arm drop down. That's pretty. I thought that was a good way to shoot it or to draw it.
Yeah, that was a good
Makes
way.
it easier for them.
It makes it easier for them. Yeah.
They don't have to show a death scene, but kind of akin to a death scene, which doesn't then restrict some of the viewership or parental issues that might happen.
Exactly. So then we have the scene where they sort of chase the queen. What do you guys think of this, Rob?
Where they're chasing the queen.
Yeah, and then
That was like, again, that was another great scene. Like it, like, just watching it, it makes me appreciate the animation again, or the effort that they did. Like I love like seeing the thunder, seeing the rain, and knowing that they drew that. It made it very, very tense. Everything in the background made it so tense for them. It made it dragged you into the movie even more with all that sound going on.
yeah.
Hey, Michael,
Yes.
did that scene scare you as a kid?
It's pretty scary, yeah.
As a child, especially like the lightning scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's sort of kind of scary. More scary than the forest was too.
He's kind of like cackling and like
Michael.
yeah, very maniacal, and you're just about to drop this giant rock on all of them, but then the lightning comes down, and she falls to her death. I guess we never really see what happens to her, but so then we get Snow White's eating the apple. She's in her death sleep, and they put her in this very beautiful glass coffin, which is nice, I think, so yeah, and so they're all sad, but then the prince comes, and she did say, "Someday my prince will come," and he did.
He did. He came to save the day.
Yeah.
It took him a year.
Did they say it was a year?
Yeah, according to Wikipedia, it was a year later.
I thought it was like a day later.
Nope,
Damn.
it was a year later. Wow. So
Where-
the dwarves were standing around her dead body for a year.
What was he? What was the prince doing for a year?
Looking for another fair maiden.
Was
Couldn't
it?
find one as pretty as her.
No. Damien, that was his true love. So he finds her, and I actually had an interesting fact about the Prince Charming. There was actually originally there was plans for him to be more in the movie, but he got cut out of it because it was too hard to animate his character. So he was hard to draw, apparently.
Huh.
So so he only shows up basically at the start and the end of the movie. And I kind of was, when I watched it, I was actually really surprised how little he was in this movie.
For an hour and 20-minute long movie, having Prince Charming in it for only a minute, that's a bit strange.
It's strange because he's such a like big character that everyone's like, oh, Prince Charming, yeah. But when you watch it, you're like, he's barely in it, which is crazy. But yeah, so he gives her his true love kiss, and she wakes up, and that's basically they lived happily ever after.
Thank you for ending with that, Michael. They lived happily ever after.
Yeah, I would say like this movie sort of becomes the playbook for Disney in a way.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff that was made for this and storylines that were developed in this sort of become their stock standard for a lot of their storylines, which still works to this day because you know what you're expecting from a Disney movie.
Mm.
But this is the original, so.
Do you guys have like a favorite scene and favorite song from this movie?
Mine is the forest. That's my favorite scene. Just Snow White running around forest, and obviously my favorite song is Hi Ho.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of just any scene the dwarfs are in, just because of the animation for those dwarfs.
Yeah. Favorite
How
song?
about you?
Always just so much going on with that animation.
And favorite song?
Hi ho.
And you, Michael?
My favorite song is Someday My Prince Will Come.
Oh wow.
No, it's not. It's Hi Ho.
This is why we don't trust you with anything, Michael. We don't trust your voice.
How could that be my favorite song?
I don't know. I can't judge.
Yeah, well, it's very nice of you guys not to judge me. But and I think my favorite scene. Well, I mean, there's a lot of good ones, but I really like the transformation from the queen to the old lady. That whole sequence is great. So
yeah.
All right, so now I guess it's time to rate this movie, and our rating system is a little bit different. We are going to find out how many dwarfs this movie is out of 7. Damien, how many 7 dwarfs do you give this movie?
I'm going to give it 7 because it is the starting point of Disney. It's the seed planted by Disney that will grow into the empire it is today, and it deserves that respect.
You're going to give it 7?
Yes.
He's starting off with a 7.
Wow.
It's still great. It's the greatest movie ever made. Like, or one of the greatest movies ever made.
It's true. It's true.
So it deserves the respect.
Okay. Rob, what would you give Snow White and 7 Dwarfs?
I will give it. I'll give it a 6 out of 7 dwarfs. I'll give it a 6 because I just think that the prince needed more story. That's only like if the prince had more of a story, I will give it 7. I will give it 7 out of 7 dwarfs straight away.
Yep.
How about you, Michael?
Yeah, I'm also going to give it a 6. Because I think maybe because we've already talked about this, but maybe the songs don't hold up as well as other Disney movies. And also because this isn't really one of my favorite Disney movies. So I would have to give it 6. But, it is still like the iconic classic, and it's still an amazing movie. Like 6 is still good.
6 out of 7 is still good.
Yeah. So yeah. All right. Well, that's Snow White and 7 Dwarfs. That was good. Shall we test our Disney knowledge?
Okay, so the way how the game works is I'm going to be asking. You can ask either a question or you can describe a film plot badly and see if the other two. Yeah.
What's this segment called?
It's called. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to say what the segment's called. The segment is called "How Disney Are You?" So, how Disney do you think you are, Damien?
I'd hope I'm pretty Disney.
You better hope so, because we are doing a podcast all about Disney.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, you haven't seen Snow White, so you can't judge.
You've lost some of your Disney cred.
Yeah, you got to hit a Disney card, Rob.
Okay, fine. I've lost some of it. I'll take that on the chin. How about you, Michael? Do you think you're Disney?
Oh yeah,
I'm Disney.
You're right. I'm
Disney.
I'm Disney. Look, DuckTales.
Yeah, DuckTales. How about this? Okay, Moana.
Moana.
Okay. Okay. So I'm just going to explain the rules of this game. The way you buzz in is you have to say your name. Okay. So the way this game works is every week we'll be testing the other two people's knowledge. So it will change every week, whoever's hosting it, and it'll be the first to 10 gets a Disney Funko from the other two people. So they put their money together, and they can add to mine and
Let's hope
Michael's
prices don't go up.
Funko collection,
Oh, yeah.
or sort of, kind of, possibly start Damien's Funko collection besides his 5.
Do you have any Disney ones, Damien?
The weird thing here is that I really want like a Lilo and Stitch pop vinyl, but I've never actually brought one. I actually don't own any Disney pops that aren't like. Actually, yeah, the only ones I own are Marvel,
Damien, they're like
which aren't Disney.
Damien, they're like 20 different Stitches. Like they
I
bring
know that's the problem. It's like Deadpool. I had to stop because it's like there's like 100 Deadpools now.
Yeah.
And I started out with like Stitch. They just keep doing different styles of Stitch, and I'm like,
Stitch is always good. They always bring him out. I mean, they do a cool one with him.
Okay, now let's test your buzzers. Michael, what's your buzzer?
Damo. I mean, Michael.
Hey, joke.
Damo, what's your buzzer?
Mike, I mean Damien. I mean Damo.
Okay, are you ready for the first question?
Can I be Maiko?
Michael and
be-
Damo.
You go.
Be whatever you want. Yeah, be Michael and Damo. And then my name can be Robbo. Done.
Alright. Rabbi. mate.
Robbo, Damo. No
Hey,
denying where we're from.
No, no looking up the answer. I can see his vote. This little guy right here,
We can't.
Mickey.
Can't
Check
see
it out.
anything funny too.
Yeah.
Mickey,
Mouse.
when is Mickey Mouse's birthday?
November. Maiko.
Yes, Michael.
November.
What date in November?
Damo.
23rd.
Damo.
17th of November. Can we keep guessing until we get it right?
What is it?
His birthday is November 28th.
Ah.
Okay, now on to question 2. Okay. Disney World is turning 50 this year. When is Disney World's birthday?
Maiko.
Michael?
This November. October.
Damo.
Damo?
December.
Wait. October.
What date in October?
The 1st.
Hey, we didn't get to re-guess for the last question after we got wrong.
I won't take the point. Am I right?
You're right. It's October 1st.
That's
Yeah.
all right. I
You're
won't
not
take.
getting the point. Okay. Now it's time for me to explain a film plot badly. Okay. Girl finally gets to rest, but is disturbed by a man.
Maiko.
Did you think you said it wrong and then correct yourself by saying what you thought was
Wait.
wrong again?
Wait. What? No, I think I'm wrong though.
Say it.
Tangled.
No.
Damo.
Damien?
Is that so white?
Nope. Wow. 0 or.
Wait, then the other one
Wait.
we're
I'll
not
give
getting
you-
it. The other one- I think I know what the other one is. It's Rapunzel.
Michael said Tangled. No.
Sleeping
Remember-
Beauty.
Yes, it's Sleeping Beauty. Gets the rest. Prince wakes her up. Prince third.
Technically, that's Snow White as well.
It is technically Snow
And
White.
technically, that's also half the Disney plots.
And
They don't want to kill him, so they just put him to sleep.
All right. Well, that was How Disney Are You? And we are not very Disney at all, apparently.
Nope.
Apparently.
We'll have to practice for next week. But talking about next week, it's time to find out what next week's movie is going to be. And how we're doing this is each week is going to be a new decade. So this week we did the 30s, next week 40s, following week 50s, 60s, Yeah, you get it. And then we'll come back around once we get all the way to the present. Except when there's some sort of special occasion or special anniversary or a new Disney movie, then we'll do those instead. And we've got a few coming up, which is exciting, but we'll talk more about that later. So we're going to do 1940s, and what we're going to do, we're going to pick 3 from here, and we are going to pick one of the 3 that I pick, and it's going to be best, 2 out of 1.
Michael, how many movies are in there?
I think that's 14. So
Hey,
we got a few good ones. We've got Fantasia, Pinocchio, Bambi, Dumbo. But then we've also got a few not so well-known Disney movies. Let's say that.
Oh,
All right.
come on, Pinocchio.
All right. Ready? I'll put it up, Damien. You can read it. What do we got for our first movie?
This first draw for next week's podcast will be The Reluctant Dragon.
Second movie we could choose from?
It's Upside Down. Fun
Good
and
job,
fancy
Michael.
free.
What fun?
And fancy free.
You guys know anything about that one?
Damien, look it up.
I know it. I think I may have seen it once or twice, but it's not something that's really on my have watched list.
All right.
It's an anthology film.
It's important.
Give us something we like. Or no. I mean, no, not like. Something we know.
All right, you ready, Damien?
Yep. It's Upside Down. It's the 3 Caballeros?
Caballeros. All right.
They're not
3
the
Caballeros.
most known ones.
So this one I do know. I think Rob knows as well. This is with Donald Duck and the other 2.
Yeah, the other 2.
So, okay, well, I'll go to Rob. Which one of those 3 movies would you like to watch?
The Reluctant Dragon. Haha, I'm only joking. It's the 3 Caballeros.
3 Caballeros. And Damien, we got Fun and Fancy Free, The Reluctant Dragon, 3 Caballeros.
I'm gonna go with the 3 Caballeros. Get some duck in here.
Are you looking at the movies?
No, I'm just looking at the posters to see if I can remember them.
Okay. You got going 3 Caballeros?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that's it. I was going to bet for that as well.
Yes.
This is the movie we're doing next week. All right. Well, that's on the next episode. You can find us on Facebook at Beneath the Castle. Please go there and like and share with your friends. We post Disney news and Disney trailers, all things Disney, on a pretty regular basis. And make sure you go there and leave a comment. Tell us what you like about the show and what you don't. And if there is any Disney movies you would like us to talk about and review, let us know. You can also contact us at beneaththecastle@gmail.com. But most importantly, please go to soundcloud.com/beneaththecastle, or you can find us at Spotify and listen to the show. Anyway, I hope everyone enjoyed the show. And do you guys have any last words?
Yeah. Well, I have some famous words by the great and wonderful Walt Disney. Growing old is mandatory, but growing up is optional.